Good afternoon and welcome to Brunch and Budget on Bonfire Radio with your host, Pamela Capalet, a certified financial planner here to help take the bite out of your budget, brunchandbudget.com. I'm your sound provider, Dialect, and here's your host, Pamela Capalet.
Thank you, Dialect, and thank you, everybody, for tuning in on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. It is summer, everybody. I know I say that every week, but I'm still surprised because last summer was not a summer.
Exactly. Summer's a fleeting thing.
Yes, so I'm just going to celebrate it every week because it's beautiful and it's not storming like it was yesterday.
Like Earth Day, every day.
Yeah, Earth Day every day. Good times, good times. So we actually have a special guest in the studio today, Lilith Kalachian-Nurse, who is a marketing and branding expert. Thank you so much for being here, Lilith.
Thank you guys for having me.
Totally. We are very excited. So Lilith and I met at a women's founders dinner, and we sat next to each other, and we totally hit it off. And I really like what you say on your website, that you're marketing and branding, but you're primarily a communicator. And that's what marketing and branding is communicating with people and understanding the mass and interpersonal communications. I'm totally reading this off your site because it's so good. The delicate difference between the two. So understanding how to make something with mass appeal, but also having somebody who looks at it feel like it's just for them, right?
Exactly.
It's beautiful. I love it. So you are a communicator. You have a graphic design and visual background. And the other thing that I really like about Lilith is she has clients think about the why before the what. And I feel like, I know for me, as someone who's trying to brand myself, it's a lot of, okay, which social media channels should I be on? Should I be blogging? How many podcasts should I do a week? How often should I do this? How often should I do that? And I feel like that everyone kind of gets caught up in that. And so today we're going to be talking about how to kind of reset yourself. Lilith is also going to be doing a live critique of my website, of the Brunch and Budget website at the end, so stay tuned for that.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
It's going to be crazy. She's going to put it through the fire on Bonfire.
Yeah.
Hey!
We don't have that song to play.
We don't.
We're not that prepared.
No. Dang, that would have been really good.
Preparation. Everybody, when you're making a website here, I got marketing tips. Be prepared for stuff. When you know you're going to have to say something.
Is that a tip you were
have
going to
something
give
related.
Lilith? Be prepared for stuff?
Be prepared for stuff is exactly the line I was going to say. Yeah.
You took it from her.
See,
No, she has
we're
a
not
lot
going to
more
need
to
these
say,
guests
though.
soon.
We're done. I can leave now.
Yeah, it's like,
All right,
all
just
right.
play songs from here on out. Let's dance.
Better get on that dialect.
Oh, about three. Oh, preparation.
Yes. So, Lilith, before we go into just the nuts and bolts of everything, can you just tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into branding and marketing and design, where you've worked, and you're on your own, too. Congratulations. Freelancer
Thank you.
for a
Yes,
while now.
It's amazing. Sure, a little bit of history. I went to UCLA. I wanted to do marketing and journalism, and at orientation, the girl was like, haha, that we don't offer that stuff here.
That's a fun time to find out.
Okay. So I actually did mass communications, and we had a great communications department, and they really clarified the whole mass and interpersonal communication and the difference and similarities between them. And then after that, I started marketing for a little bit, and I realized that the visuals behind the marketing were really, really interesting to me because my family is full of artists. So, and I kept being drawn to that, and I really wanted to learn the technical skills and the theories behind that. So I came to New York and studied graphic design at Parsons. After that, I was with an agency for about 4 years. So I've done everything from logo design to set design, invitations, banners, registration sites, all of that. And after 4 years, I decided, I have enough of a freelance client base to kind of move over and try to do this on my own. I love the agency I was with, but I was definitely more of a designer there than I was a marketer, and I really wanted to combine both of those. So I left about 1.5 years ago, and it's been going really, really well, knock on wood.
That's so exciting. Yes, we have a morning show with Tasty Quiche and Conscious, and she likes to call freelancers the dead day job army. So welcome.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. So can you go into actually a little bit more about the difference between mass communication and interpersonal communication? I may have butchered that.
Sure, no, you didn't at all. The theories are a lot of the same. A lot of the theories are the same, but you have to really think about when you're talking to one person and the way that you're telling your story to that one person, and how that one person is going to be consuming it based on their point of view. Whereas mass communication, you really have to understand the different points of views that you're going to be touching and how they're going to be understanding it and how they're going to take it in. Now, when you're talking about branding, you really have to kind of, well, the first thing you do is think about your target audience and the persona of that target audience and who you want to talk to. So it's kind of taking this mass communication, because anytime you're doing marketing, you're mass communicating.
Right.
Taking that mass communication and really honing it to the target audience, and make sure while you're talking to a crowd, the people that are your customers, the people that you want to reach, are the ones that really are understanding what you're saying, what your story is, what you have to sell, or what you have to provide for them.
And how do you make sure that you're doing that?
It's actually a lot of preparation, funny enough. It's a lot of work in terms of really getting into the mindset of your target audience, who they are, what they listen to, what's important to them, what they see, who their influencers are, who do they talk to.
Oh, wow.
And that's a whole branding exercise that you do to kind of figure out who the persona is and who that target audience is. Now, the persona is one person. You can have, 4 personas in your target audience. Maybe you depending on what you're selling, depending on what you're offering, you can clarify one persona, or 3 to maximum, I would say 4 personas of people that you're going after. And those are the people who can use your services, who can use what you're selling the most, and then you go after them.
Well, how do you know? Because I feel like there's a lot of people who go into this, like, I know a lot of people who are like, I sell insurance, and everybody needs insurance, so I'm marketing to everyone. What would you tell somebody who says that or who thinks that about their product or service?
I would say that they have to go back and see what is important and what is special about the insurance that they're selling. Because if they're saying, I sell insurance and everybody needs to buy insurance, then they're lost just as much as anybody who might be using them is. They want to go back and say, what makes them special when they're selling the insurance? Do they really know veterans really well? Do they really know moms really well? Do they have 24-hour service? Or what is the thing that makes them special? And once they figure that out, then they can go back and say, okay, this makes me special, then who's going to be interested in that specialness that I have? And then that makes it a very, very niche market of people that you want to go after. It's honestly, it's all about getting the thing that you have to the people who can use it, because I don't really believe in like marketing for everyone and everybody has to have this and buy. Like that's not what it's about. You have a service, you have a product that's going to be helpful to someone, and you're hopefully doing it because you have a passion for it. So then that's who you turn around, and then that's one of the personas that you're selling to.
Oh, okay. So you should never say that you're marketing to everyone.
You can't be marketing to everyone. If you're marketing to everyone, there's something in your branding is broken. There's something is missing. You haven't done the preparation, haven't really figured out what you're selling.
Yeah, totally.
If you're marketing to everyone, something in your branding is broken.
Somebody tweet
Thank
that.
you. That's I'm working on that. That's real, and that's important stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you quickly. Often, artistical people have the opposite issue. It comes to the same problem. Like, we end up having trouble defining our niche market because we understand our niche market a bit too well. We are oftentimes, I throw myself in there because, vocalists are very easy to tell this. We are marketing to people who are like us, or people who think like us, but we have the same issue of, I think everyone needs to hear this type of thing, so I'm marketing to everyone. So how do we define artistical people, our niche, while also dealing with the biases of being a part of our niche?
Well, I mean, anytime you're an artist, you have a passion for something, right? So you've now narrowed that down to the people that have that passion. Now, once you blow up and you're selling concerts and all this, then it's not just going to be the people in that niche. It's going to grow because the music is great and so on and so forth. But initially, it's going to be the people who have the same passion as you. And then what I would say is kind of get out of, maybe it's not artists who have the same passion as you, but maybe it's doctors who also share that passion. Maybe it's, chefs who also share that passion. So besides being, because I feel like maybe you're combining being an artist and having this passion for something.
Right.
But maybe it's coming outside of the artist world and, calling up friends or friends of friends who are not in the artistic world but could possibly, depending on what your passion is, what you sing about and all that, are interested in, and then have them hear it, ask them, where they get their information, who their influencers are. That whole branding exercise can be done on those people.
That makes perfect sense. That's great.
That's interesting because dialect, you bring up a good point. I feel like that a lot of artists tend to try and market to other artists. Was that an accurate generalization?
This this whole radio station that you're on, Bonfire Radio, has origins in an open mic that was named Bonfire. It was a monthly bonfire where folks would get together, and for the most part, our audience was artists. We invited artists. It was an open mic situation, so there's a little bit that too. And that's often where it starts. Is you have the central place where a bunch of artists get together, bump around, share notes, and what became the difficult thing, and what often becomes the difficult thing for artistic groups is, after we throw that party and it's a successful party and we're able to support each other, well, then we want to go and throw that party for people who aren't just us.
Yeah.
And it's difficult because there's a lot of security in throwing that party for that small group that you already have. But what ends up happening, and you see this after a couple of years, is the party fizzles out because you were just passing the same couple of dollars around in a circle rather than finding ways to expand.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, a huge thing is the risk is going to be comparable to the reward. So you're not really going to get too much of I mean, you'll get enough, but to really longevity-wise, if you really want huge rewards, you're going to have to make big risks. You have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to try new things. And you definitely, to find new people, you have to go to new places and see new people and talk to new people. So there's nothing wrong with you having your own community, and hopefully they're always there to support you. But get out, share it. Why not share it? You're obviously doing something you're passionate about, hopefully making some great music, some great art, and why not go share it with the world? They need it too.
Yeah, that's for real. I have to say that I've never heard anyone use risk and reward to describe finding your audience. That is awesome. And it's so true. You're so right. True. It can apply to everything, and it can especially apply to, well, we're comfortable here, and we know everyone will show up here, and we know that these are the people who are already supporting us, so let's ask them to keep supporting us versus trying to find people who most of them might not even care. And that's a risk to, not necessarily even monetarily, but just a risk to your art, because your art is so much of yourself, I feel like, with artists. And that's the risk, like, internally that I feel like is going on.
Yeah. One thing that us artists have internally, I'll throw it, is we think like drug dealers.
What do you mean?
I mean, some of us literally
Please explain.
Some of us are, literally will try to sell our art to you the same way that drug dealers sell their art. Sell drugs, like, hey, passing by on the street, of course you want this. And the reason for that is we're addicted. We're so deep in this. We know why it works. Like you said about anything that you're passionate about, artists, we take it to quite an extra level. We understand completely why this is an amazing thing, this art that we're a part of. So oftentimes how we'll fail is we expect you're already an addict too.
Yep.
Even if you're interested, you're probably not an addict. You're probably not living all up in it being such a huge part of your life. But you got a little spark, and we see that little spark, and we're like, oh, okay, you got the fever too, right? Come here. And it's really easy, in these artistic communities to get a bunch of people who got the fever, and then we all jamming together, and it feels real good right there. But heading out into the uninfected areas is a little dangerous.
And I'm sure it could be hard to be rejected by someone who has no clue. Then you just start thinking, well, why do I need to talk to you? You don't understand my art. You don't understand my passion anyway. And then you go back to your little comfortable circle, and like you said, you pass the dollar around, and that's not. You just have to keep pushing through. You just have to keep going at it, and not really try. It's hard for artists. Like marketing in a lot of ways is, a lot of like throw things out there and see what catches. And for artists, like the product is like kind of your soul.
Yeah.
Which is so hard to kind of say, okay, this person didn't like it. Doesn't make them a bad person. Doesn't make them clueless. It's just, they're not my audience. I'm going to go to the next person and the next. And then,
Yeah.
Well, and how project-based it can be. It's tough how what we do is not predictable. And regardless of how much money or how much acclaim your last project made, whether it's small or large, it has little bearing or way less bearing than other industries have on things. That's why our industries, our big money industries, are so squeamish about moving things and changes in the paradigm, or just bringing in new people, because predictability is so hard to come by. They cherish it. I just read this thing about Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler's been making like the boringest stuff for years.
He's
I don't know.
like a joke
I'm
of
sorry if
himself.
I'm controversial about it, but I mean, no, like his stuff has been really, at least to me, and I grew up listening to his comedy albums and loving that stuff. I thought he was very creative, but like really tepid stuff. And apparently, the reasoning behind it is. Was it Sony Pictures? The people he's been making movies with for the past few years, they love him because he's mad predictable.
Yep.
His movies cost about the same.
They make about the same every time. No matter how much people say they hate him, they'll still go see his movie.
Well, yeah, there's some people who hate him. There's still plenty of people who absolutely love his stuff.
Yeah.
And it's at such a point where he's got what he's doing to a level that it's predictable.
Yeah.
Predictable at all, which, very few, especially film companies, are able to do. So that makes him a good commodity, and he can just, do that type of thing. It's, again, crazy for us, I guess, us freelance artists, because we don't like predictability anyway. I hate my first rap album. It's there's some terribly unmarketable stuff in that I have very few choruses that repeat. I'm like,
no hooks.
I get to the hook, and I'm like, oh, no, the hook's still there. But I'm like, I wanted to change the words this time because I'm bored. Now, because artists get inherently bored by that. So that's another thing that we have to fight against, because predictability is something that financially we need to figure out how to engender in some way. I like that you're screwing up your face about that. Shut me down.
No, I don't really believe in that, because I feel like you need, first of all, something that artists have that a lot of brands maybe, or someone selling a product or a startup doesn't sometimes really grasp is authenticity. And authenticity is huge. So as you need to, as an artist, the brands need to come up with their authenticity and then be authentic to that.
Right.
But as an artist, you already have that, and you should never lose that. And I feel like if you try to say, okay, now I'm going to be predictable for just for the sake of making that $5, and then making the next $5, the next $5 goes all the way back to, first of all, no risk, no reward. Like you said, he makes the same amount of money, and it's going to be the same thing. And second of all, like a part of your authenticity is definitely going to fade. And third of all, the whole point of being an artist is to be a creative. If you're not creating something new, what's the point? Why don't you just sell the same CD forever?
Right.
This is well, and I know those people.
Yeah.
This is a marketing person, y'all who are listening, saying, if you just gonna what's the point if you're just gonna make the same thing over and over? It's even the people who are not in. She's not creating no songs and no paintings right here. She's talking about marketing and saying, don't just make the same thing and sell it over and over. It's something I've talked with young folks a lot about, because it can be very enticing to make Adam Sandler money. Adam Sandler money and Adam Sandler fame is pretty healthy. You can retire off of that if you retire. But I guess if you're the type to retire, then you want to go for Adam Sandler money. But the thing of it is you can make these things and make it palatable, but you won't make it great. You won't make that important connection. You won't do the thing that I think is what you're saying, that you were inspired to when you first started doing the thing. So you'll lose the whole point of what you're doing. And at that point, you might as well have just been Walmart this whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you should ever go for, let's see how predictable I could be.
Right.
Just saying those words sounds so horribly boring. And
Thank you for saying that
I
as a
definitely
marketer, too.
understand
Yeah.
if you have a product, if you've done some artwork, that you've done a certain kind of song and it's really sold really well, maybe you want to devote some time, if you're still passionate about it and interested in it, devote some time into making something similar that could sell again, because we all have to live. I completely understand that. But one thing to always remember is anytime you're doing something, you're taking away time from doing something else.
Right,
so just
right.
make sure that's still something that is important to you and you're passionate about. And then make sure you make time for that other thing as well. But I definitely understand having, needing money, being in New York City, like all of these things. I definitely get that. And yeah, you can do it for a few times but if it doesn't do anything for you anymore inside, there's no point. And that's never going to catch on. Like,
Word to that, yeah.
That is
Word.
never going to have, it's never going to have the same impact.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Oh, we got to go to a song.
Oh, song time.
Go to a song. This is great. I love that this turned into like most of our audience's artists. Shout out to all the artists who are listening. And so just hearing this from someone who like does branding and marketing and saying like, you know what? You still just have to be you. Don't ever lose sight of that.
Never.
And then
Ever.
go from there.
That's really important because I've even had meetings with marketing people and less with marketing people, more with the companies who hire marketing people, where that's not what they say.
Yeah.
And they tell you the opposite. So it's always important to hear from professionals that this is an important thing to everybody involved. We're going to get into... So I figured for this week we'd go for some songs about marketing, which is always fun because, rappers don't hardly have nothing good to say about marketing. And I went all around the world. And this first one is from España, La Coruña. I'm not sure exactly where that is in España, so when get your maps out, or if you're from that area, please tell me how I mangled the name of your hood. But this is an artist named Paul Enrico with the song Marketing. Check you in a few minutes. Brunch and Budget, Bonfire Radio. Peace.
Tu ropa, la comida, la marca de tu coche. Estás en el punto de mira, te tratan como un fantoche. Pueden convencerte de que algo es mejor que algo. Intentarán captarte siempre con imágenes de saldo. Globalización, especulación del hombre rico. Valen más cifras en ventas que la calidad de vida. Me revientan las salidas que se toman ante esto. Publicidad subliminal, mentiras fuera del contexto. Lo que entra por la vista nos puede cegar. Venden perfiles terroristas y matan desde un altar. Países pobres enterrados por deudas externas. Hoy el bien más preciado es un camión cisterna. Anuncios, el poder de la ficción, televisión, el nuevo cáncer de esta puta civilización. Presión mediática, ya ni siquiera leo el periódico. Alabanzas por ganancias hoy me producen cólicos. Catástrofes, miles de muertos no te hacen llorar, pero lloras porque muere Lucas, pobrecita Sara. Las peores procesiones se llevan por dentro. Odio discutir con gente que no defiende argumentos. Soy etéreo como el aire, un misterio de la humanidad. La gasolina sube rápido, se esfuma la paz. Las colas del paro como los cines en Navidad, llenas de personas, llenas de sueños sin realizar. De tanto pensar en los demás se me funde el cerebro. Cárceles cosmopolitas nos despojan de los sueños. Lujo está bien, pero yo prefiero Santiago. Una equivocación en mi vida a La Coruña me trajo. Hoy esclavo de la ciencia, la paciencia, mi peor virtud. El mundo en el que vivo, una tumba, mi ataúd. A veces escribo sin ganas, otras ya ni escribo. Odio el dolor, pero me mantiene vivo. Es marketing, mentiras ensangrentadas, es marketing. Ilusiones arrancadas, es marketing. El sabor de tu memoria, lo que vivas, lo que digas, forma parte de tu historia. Es marketing, mentiras ensangrentadas, es marketing. Ilusiones arrancadas, es marketing. El sabor de tu memoria, lo que vivas, lo que digas, forma parte de tu historia.
Me cansa ser un puto juguete, depender de un billete, no poder hacer lo que me pete, seguir a una ley, a un gobierno y a unas normas. ¿Para qué jodéis? Si esto va mal y ya no hay forma. La publicidad te engaña, enferma la sociedad, la anorexia y la bulimia frente a un canon que no existe y es triste. Vender la felicidad, embaucar a la gente, el monopolio será fugaz. Campañas publicitarias que valen una fortuna, mientras África llora porque no llegan las vacunas. No hay para todos, el país rico siempre gana, tienen la llave del progreso y lo invierten en bobadas. Ganar más, tener más y ser más que los demás. El interés de destacar nos lleva al más puro egoísmo, al materialismo y mismo. Nos vamos de compras por sentirnos bien con nosotros mismos. ¿Qué más da ser blanco, negro, chino si el color de la ambición es el más extendido? Opino que estamos al filo de la ruina. El consumismo y compra compulsiva aíslan de la rutina. Oprimen, se aprovechan del más débil, te mienten. Por conseguir lo que quieren se venden por un fajo de billetes. La ley del más fuerte, buscan el momento pertinente.
Es marketing, mentiras ensangrentadas es marketing, ilusiones arrancadas es marketing, el sabor de tu memoria, lo que vivas, lo que digas forma parte de tu historia. Es marketing, mentiras ensangrentadas es marketing, ilusiones arrancadas es marketing, el sabor de tu memoria, lo que vivas, lo que digas forma parte de tu historia.
That was Paul Enrico with Marketing, or Marketing, here on Brunch and Budget, Bonfire Radio. We're here having a little discussion about marketing.
We are with our friend Lilith Collection Nurse.
Hey guys.
Yeah, right before the song, if you missed it, you have to go back to the archives and listen to it, because we were talking about how to market and brand yourself as an artist and remain authentic. And I think that we were just talking during the song about how a lot of artists kind of get told to market to what sells and not to market to what they're passionate about and what they care about. And they kind of get lost in that. And then, like you were saying, Lilith, what's the point, right?
Yep, exactly. If you're not, you got into it for a reason, you're passionate about it for a reason. If you're going to take that out of the equation, just kind of, do cookie cutter because this is the square that sells, what's the point of that? Just go do something that's way more boring and will make you a lot more money a lot easier.
Exactly.
Word. So stay an artist or go do something else, I guess. There's
Yeah,
no in between.
there you go.
Yeah.
There is no in between. If you stay an artist, you can be a session person who just does the stuff that other people tell you to do. Mm-hmm. But might as well just be in any other wheel.
Yeah, definitely. Or
and I will say that is for some people.
Yeah,
and that is totally fine. But don't later say, oh, but I had these passions and
right, and I actually cared about this stuff.
And doesn't I feel like that extends beyond just artists. We have, if you look at your scientific community, there's a lot of scientists, folks who are pressured into, rather than solving the problems that they think are important problems, solving the problems that make them money.
Right.
I mean, you see that in research.
Well, I mean, that's how we got
Febreze,
right?
So, wonderful random fact about Febreze. Is that how we got Febreze?
I don't know. I just figure it was like some scientist working for a corporation who came up with some formula that removed. Anyway.
I'm gonna find out how Febreze started.
I know. I might be shouting out Febreze in the wrong way. Sorry, Febreze.
Yeah, shout out to whatever real person was working there hard in the basement and got it stolen by the narrative of this.
Oh man, for real. Well, no, it's true though. I feel like that everyone who is doing this on their own and trying to build their own brand has to have some kind of artistic sensibility in a way too, and that passion that an artist has definitely translates to a scientist, like you were saying, or to someone who's like really cares about their product. So I'm just wondering, going back to your big thing about asking the why before diving into the what kinds of things do you find clients typically want to jump into first, and what do you ask them instead to kind of rein them back to what's important?
A lot of times people will have a certain maybe material thing, we need to do this brochure, or we need to do this postcard, or we're running this ad, so we need you to, come up with copy or design it.
Okay.
Go. And a lot of times they'll say this is where it's going, but they won't, if it's not a client that I've known for a while, if it's a new client, they won't step back and say why. What is the content that's going to be on this page, that's going to be in this magazine to sell whatever it's selling? Who is the again, like clearing up who's your target audience? How are you going to affect them with the words and the images that you put on this page? Like, why is that going to make them just as passionate about your product as you are, hopefully? So a lot of times it's taking a step back and, first of all, understanding to whom you're marketing to, why that page, that particular page, how is that going to change things? How is that going to make the person that's viewing it feel, and what is it going to make them do? What do you want them to do?
Ooh,
so
that's
what's
important.
your strategy? Like, going even further back, what is your overall marketing strategy? When you see that do you want them to remember your name? Do you want them to buy an album? Do you want them to buy a product? Do you want them to sign up for something? What is the thing that you want them to do with this? And really going back, I'm going to throw in some terms like KPIs. You know, what are your key performance indicators for your marketing strategy? Like, really kind of a bird's eye view of what you're doing is very, very necessary at the beginning before you say, okay, we need this postcard done. Like, making a postcard is not hard at all.
Right. That's
all
not the
that
hard part.
other thinking about it part is what's hard, and it's what's going to make that postcard usable.
Gotcha. Have you ever had a client ask you to do something, and then after having a conversation with them, you ended up doing something completely different?
Oh yeah, I've in the last year I've had plenty of clients who come to me for an ad or for a banner, and we've done a whole branding strategy instead and come up with a brand book and come up with their colors. I mean,
oh wow,
yeah.
They didn't have any of that when they came to you.
No, a lot of individuals, a lot of small businesses, a lot of startups really don't have that. Sometimes they just get pushed into stuff, and they start producing things just to get their name out there without really thinking about, you know, what are their colors saying, what is their font saying, what, you know, they need to be consistent. Like, consistency is very, very big in marketing, because if you're always changing, then you're not really staying in people's minds. So the consistency part, really getting all your ducks in a row, making sure they're all the right color and they're all the same color. So that part, I've done that plenty of times, and those are actually the clients who end up turning into long-term.
That makes sense.
Partners, yeah.
Well, you help them find their voice, basically.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like, they had a voice that got muffled throughout, you know, or maybe they have two founders, then the two have very different voices, and they never really merged on one, but they still kept going, and really clarifying. You know, I give people this, like, long homework to do of, like, really trying to figure out what is the voice, what's the passion, what are you selling, and why, and then you go from there.
Whoa, that's awesome. So what kinds of questions should a business owner be asking themselves when they're trying to develop this brand? So even before coming to you, for instance, like, you decide you're going to start a business, what are kind of the first things that you should start asking yourself besides target audience? Like, how do you know what is the colors thing something that you can do yourself? Like, what can you do yourself versus what do you need a marketer for?
What can you do yourself, and what you need a marketer for are going to be really depending on each person. First of all, we have this amazing thing now. It's called the World Wide Web. And there's
Really?
so
I've never heard
much.
of it.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like, people don't realize how much information is actually out there for them. You know, any question that they have, even like, you know, what's a business plan, and what's a marketing plan? What is a marketing strategy? What's a social media calendar? Like, real things that they can so simply look online and find some really, really great experts who are willing to give out their information for free.
Yeah.
With that said, you always have to counter that with, how much time am I spending kind of learning, like, getting an MBA online instead of running my business, and like, how much can I afford to take on a lot of this marketing stuff?
That one's really tough.
Yeah.
It's the research spiral that you can go into.
You definitely can. And what you can do is kind of, if you have friends who've started their own businesses, if you have specific people that you can reach out to and say, hey, what was a really good guide for you? Maybe that's already, taking it from the World Wide Web and kind of condensing it down to maybe 2 or 3 articles that are really, really important or somebody found useful. Another thing is really understanding what your strong suits are. Maybe you're a great copywriter, and maybe you really do know your brand voice and you can do all your copy, but you're awful at anything, InDesign, Photoshop, like visual. So you get you pay for the visual stuff. Maybe you're, a whiz on Photoshop and you know exactly how everything should look, but the copy, really getting, even though you understand your brand and your voice, really like speaking that to a potential client or a consumer who's never seen what you have to offer. Maybe you just can't get that because you're not a wordsmith. So then you hire a wordsmith. So it really depends on what you are good at and what you're not, and what you have time for and what you think that, and what you need time or money. You need one of the two. It's fine if you don't have both, but you need one of the two, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I want to go back to what you said about just the idea of, doing, like, for instance, not knowing what the copy is. I feel like that a lot of business owners, I know myself included, like, we're in it so much that we kind of get lost in, okay, well, I just make assumptions that people will understand what I'm saying. What do you think is the best way to combat that? Because I mean, I'm a literature major. I feel like I know how to write copy, but I also feel like I don't really know what to say to someone who's just coming to my site, for instance.
I think the best thing to do for that is to go out there and ask people. Like, literally, maybe if you're, if it's a postcard, if it's your website, whatever, take your laptop to a coffee shop and say, hey, excuse me, can I have you look at this for 2 minutes and just tell me your first instinct, If they look at it and their first instinct is so off from what you thought, then you need to go back to the drawing board. And ask as many people as you can. It's kind of like, the user testing.
Right.
You'll get people to, that look at you strange and walk away, and then you'll get some people actually love to talk and love to give their opinions, so you might get some really great pointers and opinions and really understand the head of someone who hasn't been in this for as long as you have been in this, because it's so hard to make that separation in your head of
definitely,
like, wait, no, this person doesn't understand this whole backstory of the product. And I see that a lot, even with like established startups. Like, you go to their website and you don't understand what
it is
they are saying, but they think you do because they've been in it for 2 years. It's their baby. But it's really important to keep going out there and ask people questions.
Oh my God. My stomach did a little turn when you said just go up to a coffee shop. It's that risk reward thing again. It's like, I don't want to just ask some stranger and have them be like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
It is.
And then the stress about their level of literacy or the subject.
Right. And then how much, that's the other thing, is how do you know who to listen to? So I mean, you're going to get all this feedback and all these opinions, and who knows what you're going to get back? How do you sort through all of that afterwards?
So I feel like when they give you a comment, you will very easily be able to tell if that comment just comes from a place of someone just not knowing and not being your target audience, or if it's your target audience and you're doing something wrong and not communicating to that audience. So like if you're selling, I can't even think of an example right now, but if you talk to someone who really has no clue about that industry, obviously you're not going to take
What about like bath soap? Lots of people are making their own like soaps and like smelly nice things and things like that.
Well, something like bath soaps is gonna be more your target audience is gonna be much wider. Maybe depending, again, like everybody can sell bath soaps. Why is your soap special? Right? So you go up to the people who are gonna obviously you're not gonna know that off the bat, but once you find your niche and like who you think your target audience is, then with a few questions you can really understand if that person is somebody that you're gonna be marketing to, or if you're not.
Gotcha.
But I'm really speaking to general things like, a website landing page or, a banner ad or something. Is that really getting the information across that you want in a very quick way to someone who is a potential customer for your product.
Cool. Well, on that note, after this song, I'm going to be putting my website through the fire. Yeah. And I trust your opinion. I'm just going to put that out there right now. So I'm going to listen to everything that you say. And this is a really big risk for me.
This is a huge risk. You might be on your show. You might get told that everything about what you do is entirely wrong.
I'm prepared for it, though. I'm ready.
And by the way, feel free to reference, to ask for our resources, because we are. I guess I would be the brand manager of. He did my logo. The look and feel.
Yeah, and pick the colors.
Although on the website stuff, she tends to take over. So yeah, you have all the people to blame in the room. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be exciting.
We're going to go across the seas again. This time to, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this correctly, Bobigny in France. Anybody, I don't know. I was looking all the room to see if people be going to France a lot. This is an artist named King Sirocco, and this is also a song about marketing called Marketing. And we'll check you back in a minute. We're about to go through the fire and learn if our website has to go down immediately. Check you in a minute. King Sirocco, Brunch and Budget, Bonfire Radio.
Triste à dire, mais tout n'est plus que marketing. Sans mentir, on est très loin des Zulu Kings. Triste à dire, mais tout n'est plus que marketing. Sans mentir, on est très loin des Zulu Queens. Triste à dire, mais tout n'est plus que marketing. Sans tout noircir, j'ai trop souvent ce hard feeling et c'est gonflé. Non vraiment pas inné, beaucoup viennent baratiner. Tous sont parés, concentrés, calés comme dans des starting blocks. Pas pour un footing, mais plutôt une course, un sprint. Ainsi va l'époque, et même si ça choque, je crève. Là c'est la cloque de nos pensées, print warning. Quant aux excès passés, présents et futurs, un bout de plastoc tourne pour des MC immatures. Dans cette logique à tout prix, nombreuses sont les fictions fric. Et me viennent ainsi les mauvais frissons. Quand les vrais, les bons, baissent leur froc à l'unisson. Troquent leur éthique pour une esthétique bidon. Les munitions sont placées dans le chargeur. Ma bouche l'exécuteur, les rimes font mouche. Pour quelle gloire s'en-part-il du micro et des haut-parleurs? Triste à dire, mais tout n'est plus que marketing. Sans mentir, on est très loin des Zulu Kings. Triste à dire, mais tout n'est plus que marketing. Sans mentir, on est très loin des Zulu Queens. Triste à dire, mais tout n'est plus que marketing. Sans tout noircir, j'ai trop souvent ce hard feeling. Tu veux savoir, moi aussi je suis une star. J'ai des raps au flot de dingue, une histoire de l'art et de genre. Mais est-ce que tu crois qu'on m'estime? Tant de coq ou d'âme me zappent en grise mine lorsque j'exprime mon point de vue, respectant davantage la mode vestimentaire. Le business me prend de vitesse, me laisse peu d'espoir, c'est clair. Élémentaire, le besoin est désormais créé. La clientèle est figée, dirigée, fidélisée. Les médias mobilisés pour l'hypnotiser. Devenu masse fanatisée, l'art est modélisé en produits dérivés et gamme développée. Et dans tout cela, plus grand chose de spontané. Nous sommes la résistance organique organisée. Complice contre cette machine de guerre, prête à tout pulvériser. Triste à dire, mais tout n'est plus que marketing. Sans mentir, on est très loin des Zulu Kings. Triste à dire, mais tout n'est plus que marketing. Sans mentir, on est très loin des Zulu Queens. Triste à dire, mais tout n'est plus que marketing. Sans tout noircir, j'ai trop souvent ce hard feeling. Qu'il s'agisse d'écologie ou de philosophie, qu'il s'agisse de choses de l'esprit, qu'il s'agisse d'harmonie, tout est cuit, c'est cru. La récupération de simples opérations monétaires à l'échelle planétaire sans modération. Voici la considération de nos vies. Le profit permettant des gaspillages interminables. Il suffit de se balader dans les villes, victime des vitrines. L'âme sans science, les consciences se ruinent. Mais qu'est-ce qui prime? La famille, la santé, l'éducation, la culture, vaste plaisanterie. Que tout ceci, les religions, le pouvoir ont leur stratégie. Parlons concret, ou parlons solution. Parlons concrete, conquête, je complète par béton et pollution. Sauvons la planète ou partons sur une autre toute neuve. Où sont les vrais rebelles, où sont les hommes éclairés qui œuvrent pour de vraies idées, celles que la plupart fuient à la lettre. Chacun défend ses intérêts, mais peu veulent le reconnaître. Une conscience pointe son nez pour chercher la petite bête. Je lui souhaite bien du courage dans le monde du paraître.
And we are back, Brunch and Budget, Bonfire Radio. Catch you a little bit by surprise. Them European rappers are fast with it. They make their point and they get out.
They do.
No 1985 long outro for y'all. So you have now heard two songs in Romance languages about marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And now, and you've heard a couple of things about tips, and you heard a few key phrases. Was the KPI,
Key Performance Indicator.
Kamikaze
Look it up.
Picnic Indicator. What? No.
Key
Shout out to
Performance.
Kamikaze Picnic.
Shout out to him though. He's cool.
So the KPIs and all sorts of fun stuff. And now, the main event of the afternoon.
Yeah,
We're looking at the
woo!
Brunch and Budget website. If you want to follow along and laugh along, hopefully not.
No.
With the derisive mocking, go to brunchandbudget.com. This is the weirdest plug because it's not really a plug. We do want you to look along and look at
And
what's
just,
wrong.
Look at what's wrong.
And
yeah.
look at what's right. And,
Yes.
well, I'll give you my teacher thing, everybody listening. Everything that this site is doing wrong, that your site is doing wrong too, learn along because that's going to help you. And everything this site is doing wrong that you're doing right, pay attention to also because those pitfalls are around the corner.
Yep. Word.
All right, let's go.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay, so what I'm going to start off with is I'm going to ask you, what do you want people to do when they come to your website? What is the point of your website?
The point of my website is to have people book a brunch with me and maybe also sign up for my newsletter. Probably more likely sign up for my newsletter because that's a lower commitment point. But scheduling a brunch with me is really the ultimate goal.
Okay, and what is the person's ultimate goal?
The person's ultimate goal is to feel financially organized and feel like they have their financial shit together, basically.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to give a really quick overview about the first. When people come to your site, obviously you have Brunch and Budget in the title. So that already makes me feel like, okay, it's about brunching and it's about budget. I do see a fork, so I feel like there's more about brunching maybe. The first thing I see is an image of food. So again, I think this is more about food than anything else.
Oh.
However, if I go on to read it, I do like your first line. Feel good about your money. Okay, that's great. That is something that I'm really interested in, so that already hooks me. But again, I think this is a lot about brunch. And then it says, first book your first brunch. So now I'm thinking, is this like a cheap brunch? Like, is that why I'm feeling good about my money? I'm not really understanding why I, as the consumer, would want to book this first brunch. Like, the button's there. It's, I know the call to action is to press it.
Yeah.
But why? And again, you as Pamela, you know the great things that you're offering, and that's why you don't think about, I need to put that in here as
Right.
the first or second thing, because
Yeah.
you're like, I want them to, you even said, I want them to book a brunch, but me knowing you, I know that's not what you want. You want them to be organized with their finances. You want them to feel good about their money, just like you say right there.
Right.
The book a brunch isn't really your goal. It's like one of the things that you want them to do. So my suggestion here would be maybe add a subtitle under there that gives you a little bit of information about the brunch. Because let's say even if I'm here and I press book the first brunch, again, I come here and I don't see anything about what this brunch is going to give me. Like, that initial, I need it quickly. You have to remember, guys, you have 2 seconds to get someone. That's all you get. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If you have amazing visuals, maybe you have 3 seconds to get them, but that's all you get. So that first, you really have to be clear on what you're saying and what you want your audience to see. So I clicked on book my first brunch. Again, I'm seeing, a little bit about your rates, and then, I could see that you're flexible with your rates, but I still don't know what I'm getting once I book that brunch. So again, for me, it's kind of like, oh, I'm going to get maybe a really good brunch for inexpensive. Okay, that's good. I don't see how that's going to change my life in terms of my finances, which is actually what you're offering.
Right, totally. And someone actually did get confused about that the other day. They were like, am I paying for brunch? Are you paying for so what are we? And I'm already sitting there with them, and I'm like, this is awkward.
Yeah, so that's definitely something I would say is like but if we go back to the first page again, if we go down again, I see a lot of images of brunch, and it's telling me it's more food oriented than I know that you want. I know that that's not what you are exclusively trying to communicate. Exactly.
Right.
If we go down, something I would say, and I'm just gonna put this out there. They've asked me to be as mean as
oh my god, yeah, just as straightforward and
want.
honest as
Yes.
possible. We appreciate that in this studio.
So I can't believe it's live for everyone, but you know that it is what it is. I do as I'm asked. So this first image, you can see that it doesn't flow, at least in the desktop version. It doesn't fill all the way. I would definitely fill that in because it looks a little undone yet. You can also see your logo doesn't quite fit up above right there. It kind of comes, and it's okay for it to come down, but make it intentional. So if you want it to come down, intend it for it to come down, then bring it down a little bit more. If that's not your intention,
he told me that too, and I was like, whatever.
If that's not your intention, just make it a little smaller so it it fits and it's a lot clearer there. Coming down, I love these buttons. I love that they're all clickable. And lead to something. But something I don't understand is my eye directly goes to that calendar. Is that because you wanted them to book their brunch?
Yes.
Okay. So that's good. So you're definitely playing with colors there, and you're really like playing with the eye. But again, if that's the first thing I go to, what am I doing?
Why are you gonna do that? Yeah.
So now I've gotten 2 call to actions to book a brunch where, okay, fine, even if I'm convinced to press the button and book a brunch, I've pressed the button and I haven't gotten more information yet. This next part I actually really love. It's very clear on what the steps are, how you work with people, book your first brunch. Here's where maybe you want to put a little bit, again, more about what that brunch is going to do other than like how, you pick the time and, it's pay as you go. Maybe instead of that, like this is what you're going to get from your first brunch. Like we, get all the money skeletons out of the closet and, you can breathe and so on and so forth. The rest of it is very, very clear and simple. You tell me about you. The third thing is we meet and eat, make progress. You have the little colors indicating 25, 50%, all the way down to 100. So those are really, really good. Anytime you can, this is not necessary, but anytime you can, try to make, like, if we go up again, try to make the lines and the wording as close to each other as possible. And what I mean by that is the word count, so it doesn't look so fluctuating.
Oh, okay.
Again, it's not like a necessity at all, but if you can kind of wordsmith and make them the same length, they'll just be easier on the eyes. So then going back down, I love that you have your photo. Love, love, love that. I'm not, this might be a personal thing, but I'm not a fan of centering text. So if you want to, justify it, maybe even make your picture a little bigger. I love that you're there. I love that you're smiling. Like, you can tell this is a real person. You can almost tell from the photo, like, she cares. Like, she's, I'm going to be in good hands. So that's really, really great. I love the line, I'll be across the table from you. So you're like, okay, this is a person. Again, this is going to be something that's going to be someone who's going to be caring about me and someone who's really going to help me out. So I do definitely love that. And then the part after that, it's clear what you want. You want email address and name. That's great. I think that the wording in there is totally fine. This is centered, but it doesn't really bother me as much.
Okay.
So if you want to keep that, that's totally fine. I would definitely play around with the justification for the bio part of it, and maybe even making your picture a little bit bigger. And then the next line, you can have it there. Again, you're asking to book the first brunch. This actually gives me a little bit more information. Are you ready to finally feel good about your money? So I'm like, okay, maybe if I'm booking the first brunch, you know, and I'm like, and now that I'm here, I've read all the other content, so it makes a lot more sense to me. And then the brunch and blog, that's great. You have images. Everything on there looks good. Nothing that I would change on there. And then the bottom, you've got your contact information. This little middle part, I understand that's more of a
required
something
disclaimer.
that you have to put in there. Maybe make the text a little smaller so it's not so huge, or even if you want to spread it across 2 tabs there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then your email can go in the space where you have your social media stuff. And then all of your social media is linking. When I go to your social media, everything looks like it belongs together, which is really great. Like, I understand that this is yours. Sometimes, someone has a website and then you go to their Facebook or Twitter and like they have a different logo on it. I'm
right.
Like, come on, guys. So that's really great. I love that you have your LinkedIn because you're obviously a professional and you have a lot of experience in this and a lot of, professional clout, and your LinkedIn really brings that in. So that's my go around of your first page and your book first brunch. What I would do overall is, again, it's a little too brunchy for me, whereas brunch, I definitely get where you're getting the brunch from, but maybe tone it down a little bit and
so
bring
I don't need to
more.
knock that into people's heads.
Yeah, because that's not the main point at all.
Yeah.
It's kind of the point that makes it comforting.
Yeah.
And that's great, but I would definitely bring some, like, you don't necessarily need pictures of money, but, maybe some icons and, things like that would kind of allude to money a little bit more than brunch. Although
really
now
useful.
I'm just hungry.
So then don't you really want to book your brunch?
Well, no, that's the thing. We just were having a conversation before
Yeah.
coming to the studio today about what are we doing with the brunch part of Brunch and Budget.
Yeah.
We're not professional chefs, and this is not about us providing food. It's also not about us partnering with restaurants, or, we really haven't done a lot in regards to food, and we've been feeling a need to, even though that's not at all what the business is. The brunch is more symbolic. It's about, breaking bread and having that connection. But we've been feeling a lot of pressure to do more of the brunch stuff because it's there you see
in the
reasons
name.
why.
Yeah.
Well, not just in the name, but it's
you're
very much
making-
in the
yeah,
branding.
it is,
we
yeah.
sell it hard when that's not necessarily the point.
Yeah.
That's really helpful.
Yeah, and I would say you don't. To me, I definitely understand what the brunch part is.
Yeah.
And
That's
if
not the part I need to
you-
explain, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if you, I saw a brunch club thing here, and I don't know if that's going to be more of like you guys going to brunches with bigger groups of people. So that might make sense, but I definitely would bring the financial part of it and the helping people part of it out a lot more.
Word. I think that's about all I can take. No,
That's-
we're actually out of time. I
Yeah,
wish we had more time.
we could take a lot
I'm
more.
like, I could listen to this all day. I'm like, oh my
I'm
god.
jealous. Like I said, we just slapped up a new dialect.com.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, if you want to hang out for another hour or two,
Well,
we can
and
just...
if any of you listeners are jealous, we could have Lilith back in the studio if anyone wants some kind of, if they're brave enough to have a live critique of their site and to have Lilith's professional opinion out on the table and into the airwaves forever, you let us know. Pam@brunchandbudget.com and we can make it happen.
Well, and don't forget, guys, we've got the Audio Fest coming up soon. Yes, Bonfire Radio is having. We're a new radio station. Just got ourselves this
Should
shiny
she
new
critique
studios.
Bonfire Radio? So I'm just
I
kidding.
do. We're trying to put
Making
all these
enemies
stuff out
left
there.
and right. Everyone's gonna hate me.
I love where we're just throwing these things out live and on the air. But going along with the Bonfire Radiothon we're having next week is we're going to be
Next
setting
month.
up next month.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Oh, man, this summer it's not going that fast. we're setting up a Patreon account because we're going to have some extra things that we're going to be providing. All the different shows are going to be doing stuff. If you are interested in stuff like having Lilith come and tear apart your site or any other piece of thing that you're doing, feel free to holler at us about that. If that's something that you'd like to see as a regular part. You can always find us on the Twitters. We tweeted a few things. I only got to a few.
How do we find you on Twitter and Instagram and
just,
Facebook?
My Twitter and Instagram are Lilith KN. That's going to be LILITKN. And if you have any questions, go ahead and tweet them at me. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you have. And if you just want to see me frolicking around New York City and the things that I do, the conferences I go to and the people I meet, and I take myself out of my comfort zone all the time, you can see that stuff on Instagram if you're interested.
I love it. And her site is lknbranded.com if you want to see some of her work. Thank you so much for joining us. This was so great. And all you artists out there, this is a must listen. I know I'm saying it at the end of the show and you already listened to it, but listen to it again.
Well, it's a tough thing. Marketing is these songs have shown you artists consider marketing a bad thing, and we think that our art should market itself. And funny enough, it sort of seems like you agree. We just have to think about it the right way.
I do agree, and I'm going to put this, I know we're probably over, but what you have to understand is it's a whole new world that we live in, and so much of it is so in your hands now with social media, with digital marketing. So you can do so much yourself, and you don't have to rely on, these big corporations who are going to tell you to fit into this square, and then they're going to market that square because it's easy for them. You now have all the power, which means you also have to do all of the work. But if you're passionate, if you're authentic, and you put in the time, that's all you need. It will work out.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. We're going to be ending out on AWOL1 and E-Sid. These are some rappers from America. They're out of Minnesota, which is that's in America enough. Remember, you can check her at Lilith KN at all of the social medias, and she just told you it's a whole new world. You already got legs. Don't let Ursula take your voice. Brunch and Budget, Bonfire Radio. Check you next week. Peace.
Don't believe the hype, fuck you politely. It's just clever marketing to get you to like me. Don't believe the hype, fuck you politely. It's just clever marketing to get you to like me. Don't believe the hype, fuck you politely. It's just clever marketing to get you to like me. Don't believe the hype, fuck you politely. It's just clever marketing to get you to like me.
Look at how my joke can turn real fucking serious. The voice machine needs oil, so serious. Constantly proving that there is a God. Rapunzel hates it when you ignore her. Climb up the braid to a castle of maids. What you gonna do watching reruns of the news? And you're always making sound check the beauty of hip-hop. Won the nameless fight at 20 million. You already said fuck you in 20 different languages. And my album comes with bandages. Look at my blood-soaked memory glands. Yesterday's MCs, they're living through the music. What my marketing plan is, the real of my plan is to promise not to never take it for granted. My middle finger's bigger than yours. Kids can't go outside until you finish your chores.
Don't believe the hype, fuck you politely. It's just clever marketing to get you to like me. Don't believe the hype, fuck you politely. It's just clever marketing to get you to like me. Don't believe the hype, fuck you politely. It's just clever marketing to get you to like me. Don't believe the hype, fuck you politely. It's just clever marketing to get you to like me. You're the next big thing, ahead of us by light years. Insert your favorite misconceptions right here. Half-ass hack jobs never have lasting rap careers. What do we need to do to get it through your wax happy ears? Insert your gimmick and your nifty sales pitches. Tell me more about this get rich quick business, cause Lord knows I'm so interested it itches. I wouldn't miss it for the world's greatest acid trip on Christmas. So gifted, give up the image, get lifted. Blow a kiss to the missus, pawn the TV and the fancy dishes. It's either that or the rock and her mittens. If you want your name on a blimp, learn to say goodbye. riddance. Yeah, I did it and didn't look back at the shadow chasing. Wasn't this land built and giving and taking? Feeling the brakes or tape deck, so you have to play us over and over. Get drunk or die trying to stay sober. Don't believe the hype, fuck you politely. It's just clever marketing to get you to like me. Don't believe the hype, fuck you politely.